Okay, so hello everyone, good morning and namaste. So we will continue on our journey through the body. So we started off with the foot a couple of days ago, and we'll continue looking at the foot today, but how different actions in the foot start to work their way up higher in the body. And you'll need a strap or a belt or a length of material. If you've got something belt-like, that's ideal, but if you don't have a belt in the house, then any length of material will do. And you can just have that, leave it at the top of your mat for now. And yeah, if you get it so it's sort of long and flat across, goes across the mat, that would be ideal. And then you can just leave that there and take a moment to sit, hands resting, knees on the knees or thighs. Allow the eyes to close. Take a couple of deep breaths. And take this opportunity to dedicate your practice today to someone other than yourself. Maybe someone who's not well or having a hard time. Good, and bring the hands to prayer at heart center. And we'll begin with the unifying Om. So inhale together here. Releasing the hands down to the knees or thighs. And then you can allow the eyes to gently open and transition to hands on knees. And so your hands will be on the belt now, which is across your mat. And just take a few moments here, moving your spine around in whatever way feels good to you. Just a little exploration of the different movements that you can make with your spine. Good, and then from here, make your way to a downward facing dog. And then walk your feet forwards so that you're standing on the belt in a forward fold. And bring the belt so that it is just underneath the ball of your foot. So we're looking for it to be in the arch of the foot, but really, really close to the ball of the foot, to the pad, to the base of the big toe and the base of the little toe. And to start with, we're just going to take a little look at the outer arches of the feet. So I'm just going to see what the best way is. So I'm going to turn my strap around just so you can see what I'm doing from this angle. So I'm taking the long bits of strap that are on the outer edges of the feet. And then I'm just, whilst I'm here in the forward fold, pulling up on those sides of strap. So pulling up on the outer arches. We were looking at the 3 arches back on Monday. And so now I'm just pulling here. And just observe how when you start to pull up and the outer arch is lifting, feel how the outer ankle bone also lifts. There's a natural lifting of the outer knee, the outer thigh, outer hip. All of those things are lifting up, but the crown of your head is dropping down towards the floor. Good, and then gently release the strap back down. Place your hands on the floor and come back to a downward facing dog. Good, and as you take this downward facing dog, imagine that the strap is still there beneath your feet and pulling up in the same way. So imagine that you're still able to lift up, suction up through the outer edges of the ankles, outer knees, outer thighs, outer hips. Everything lifting up, up, up. And those of you who work with the bandhas, the energy locks, you might feel an activation of those too. Good, and then inhale, come forward to a plank pose. Lower the knees down to the mat, make your way down to lying flat. Take a sphinx pose with the forearms down. And then exhale, release, come back to downward facing dog. And then from down dog, walk the feet forwards again so you come back to standing over the strap in exactly the same place. So just below the ball of the foot, the pad of the foot. So it is in the arch, but it's more toward the toe end of the arch rather than the heel end. And this time we're going to take hold of, rather than the outer bit, we'll take the bit in between. So you might want to give yourself a little bit of length of the belt here between the feet. Just a little bit of length there. And then you can take hold of, be really close to the feet here with where you hold. And on this one, what you'll have to do is slightly pull up and out at the same time. So you get that feeling of lifting without actually pulling the strap through. So feet are hip distance, nice and wide with the feet. There should be a good gap between the feet for you to get this. And then pull up and out, but don't let the belt actually slide. And now feel the lifting of the inner arch of the foot. So it works better if you're close to the ball of the foot. You might even slightly stand on it so that it doesn't slide. And then you're lifting up the inner arch and feel that lifting of the inner arch, the inner ankle, the inner knee, inner thigh, inner groins, and top of the head is coming down. Good, and release that and step back to downward facing dog. So feel the feet awake and alive, and press your feet down into the mat here in down dog. Press the feet down, press down through the toes, but then imagine that belt is still there underneath the arches and that you're pulling up. And again, you're lifting up through the arch, lifting up the inner ankles, the inner knees, lifting up the inner seams of your yoga pants, drawing up through the groins, everything suctioning up. Good, and then walk the feet forwards one last time. Stand on the strap in the same way again. And this time, again, create a bit of length between the feet with the strap so you can actually grip it. And this time we're going to take hold of both ends of the strap. So make a little loop around each foot and take hold of both sides of the strap. So now you're pulling up the inner arch and the outer arch at the same time. I hope you can see or that you've understood that instruction. Yeah. And then lifting up and feel the inner arch and the outer arch both lifting up. Feel that suctioning up through the inner heel and the outer heel of both legs. The inner knee and the outer knee. Inseam of the yoga pants and the outside, outer hips, inner groins, everything lifting up. Crown of the head down. Good, and then release and make your way back to downward facing dog again.
And here in your down dog, again, feel that lifting up through both sides of the legs now, as if that strap was still there. Press down into your feet, but lift up through the arches. And come forwards to plank pose. Exhale down to lie flat. This time take a locust pose as you inhale. And exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Walk the feet forwards towards the front of the mat. And then bend your knees and inhale, come up to an Utkatasana. Here in your chair pose, same thing, lifting up through the arches of the feet. Imagine the strap is still there, pulling up, up, up. Lifting all that energy up through the inner leg, the outer leg, lifting through the pelvic floor, the pit of the stomach. Heart lifts, chest lifts, fingertips lift, but softening are the brow, the root of the tongue, the jaw, the breath. Take a few breaths here. Good, and then exhale, forward fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. And exhale to fold. Keep the hands down, step back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. And then release your knees down and come back to sitting on the heels. So one more little bit of prep work we'll do before we get into a full flow here. So we do a lot of hamstring stretching in Vinyasa yoga. There's a lot of that happening. We don't tend to do that much calf stretching. So it's something that tends to get missed out a bit. It's very rare that you have anyone with a pulled calf in yoga or a pulled Achilles tendon. So here's a little calf stretch we can do. Take your mat and roll it up. And depending on how thin your mat is, you probably only need to roll it up about halfway, or maybe if it's a thick mat, less. Mine's a super thin mat, so I'm about halfway. But if you've got a slightly thicker mat, then you won't need much here. And then come to stand up on the rolled mat and bring the balls of your feet here onto the rolled mat. And you're not gonna love me for this one, but come into your forward fold, bring your hands to the floor and keep the feet where they are, but walk the hands forward so you're somewhere towards a sort of down dog shape, but you won't get all the way. And breathe here, feeling this calf stretch. If you're not feeling anything, which is unlikely, but if you're not, then roll your mat up a little bit more and walk the hands a bit more forwards. Breathe there. Good, and then walking back. I'm sure you're glad to come out of that one. And then you can re-roll your mat out. And come down to Malasana. So this is a squat pose with the elbows inside of the knees. And if you can't get your heels on the floor right now, then bring something beneath your heels, either a cushion or you can use that rolled up mat again beneath the heels. And stay here, heart lift, so spine is tall. But make this a bit more active than we usually do it. And do that by pressing the knees into the elbows, and the elbows are holding the knees apart. So it's like the knees are trying to get closer together. So you're engaging the thing that you're lengthening. And this is a theme throughout the Vinyasa classes that we're doing here, is of creating a little bit of strength in the end range of motion. So we come into a lengthened position, and then we just slightly engage that muscle, creating a bit of tone, a bit of strength there.
Good. Take a last inhale here. And as you exhale, bring the hands to the floor, come to a forward fold, straight legs. Hands to shins for a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer down through the central line, coming back to Tadasana. Ujjayi breath working if it's not already here. Exhale, prayer to heart center. Inhale, reach up to the sky. Exhale, come down to Malasana, squat pose again, elbows inside of the knees. Pause here as you take an inhale. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor, sit bones to the sky. Hands to shins, halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Ujjayi, exhale, sound of the ocean as you bring the hands through heart center back to Tadasana. Take one inhale here. Exhale, prayer to heart center. Inhale, reaching up and slightly back. Exhale, down to your squat. Pause here as you inhale. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Halfway lift. Lift your shoulders as high as your hips. Exhale, fold forwards. All the way up to standing, inhale. Exhale, Tadasana. This time, inhale your arms up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold, hands to touch the floor. Step the left foot back. Knee comes down as you exhale. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhale, forwards to plank pose, shoulders come over the wrists. Exhale to lie down flat on your mat. Sphinx pose as you inhale, forearms down, heart lifts. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Take one inhale in your down dog. Exhale, left foot forwards between the hands, back knee to the floor. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, step to the front of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Lift as high as you need so the muscles on your back are working. Exhale, fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer down through the center line. Inhale, the arms come forward and up. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Plant the palms, step the right foot back, right knee down as you exhale. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, stepping back to downward facing dog. Inhale, forwards to a plank pose. Exhale to lie down flat. Sphinx pose as you inhale, pull the heart forwards. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. Take an inhale in down dog. Exhale, right foot between the hands, back knee to the mat. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, step forwards, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale to fold. All the way up to standing. Inhale. Exhale, down through the center line, back to Tadasana. Same again, this time with locust pose. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Halfway lift as you inhale. Plant the palms, step the left foot back, knee to the mat.
Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, step to downward facing dog. Inhale, forwards to plank pose. Exhale to lie down flat on the mat. Point your fingers to the back wall, lift up arms, legs and heart as you inhale, locust. Exhale, hands to the floor, back to downward facing dog. One inhale in your down dog. Exhale, left foot between the hands, back knee comes down. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift. Exhale, forward fold. Remember that sensation of the belt as you inhale up, arms up overhead, lifting up through the inner and outer legs. Exhale, prayer to heart center. As you inhale, lifting up from the feet all the way up through the legs to the fingertips, arms to sky. Exhale, forward fold, hands to touch the mat. Still lifting up through the arches as you do a halfway lift. Exhale, both hands down, right foot back, knee to the mat. Inhale, float the arms up. Exhale, both hands down, stepping to downward facing dog. Inhale, forwards to a plank pose. Exhale to lie down flat. Locust pose as you inhale. Exhale, hands to floor, back to downward facing dog. Take an inhale here. Exhale, right foot between the hands, back knee comes down. Inhale, arms to the sky. Exhale, both hands down, step to the front of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale to fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, Tadasana. This time with high lunge and cobra pose. Inhale the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Halfway lift. Plant the palms, step the left foot back, keep the knee high this time. Inhale, float the arms up to crescent lunge. Exhale, both hands down, downward facing dog. Inhale, plank pose. Exhale to lie down flat. Keep the hands where they are, lifting up for cobra pose. Keep a bend in the elbows, elbows tight to the body and pull forwards. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. One inhale in down dog, and as you exhale, left foot between the hands for crescent. Inhale, both arms up towards the sky. Exhale, both hands down, step to the front of your mat, forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, crown of the head drops to the floor. Lifting up through the feet, arms up to the sky as you inhale. Exhale, hands to prayer and to Tadasana. Last side, inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Halfway lift. Plant the palms, step the right foot back. Inhale, arms up towards the sky. Exhale, both hands down, back to downward facing dog. Inhale, forwards to plank pose. Exhale to lie down flat. Inhale, lift up to cobra pose. Keep the elbows bent and in. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. One inhale in down dog. Exhale the right foot forwards between the hands. Inhale, standing lunge. Exhale, both hands down, step to the front of your mat. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale to fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale. Exhale back to Tadasana. So a couple of Surya Namaskar A's here. Inhaling the arms up. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the mat. Halfway lift as you inhale. Plant the palms and either step or jump back and lower down, either to the floor or chaturanga. Inhale forwards and up. Your choice to take cobra or up dog or any other of the options that we've done. And exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Breathe here in down dog. So it's the first time in about 10-15 minutes that we've stopped in a pose, but your breath is still going at the same tick-tock rhythm. Your breath thinks it's still doing sun salutations, whatever else it is that you're doing. Look at your feet. Lift up all 10 toes, and as you lift up the toes, feel how the muscles on the top of the foot and the front of the leg all engage. Press down through the balls of the feet, and at the same time as doing that, also drag the balls of the feet towards the back of the room. Now feel how that switches on the backs of the legs. Keep that, but press down through the toes of the feet. Feel that co-activation now of the front and back of the legs that you've activated through the feet. Next exhale, bend the knees, look to the space between the hands, and as you inhale, either step or jump the feet forwards, come to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, release the arms down alongside you. One more like this. Inhale, the arms come up. Exhale, hands to the floor as you fold forwards. Halfway lift, feel the muscles of the back body working to lift your heart. Plant the palms and either step or jump back and lower down to the floor or to a half press up. Inhale, forwards and up, either cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, hips up and back to downward facing dog. Take a breath here. Same thing as before, lift up all 10 toes. Feel how the muscles in the front of the legs switch on. Keep that. At the same time, press down through the balls of the feet, drag towards the back of the room, feel the muscles on the back of the legs switch on. Press down through the toes and lift up through both arches. Good. Next exhale, bend the knees, looking forwards. Inhale as you step or jump the feet forwards, halfway lift. Exhale to fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. And exhale, release the arms down alongside the body. This time, chair pose, bend the knees, inhale the arms up. As you exhale, sit down, down, down till you can sit on your mat, lift up to boat pose. Take one inhale in boat pose, hands to prayer at heart center, exhale down to half boat. Take an inhale here, and as you exhale, come back up to boat. Cross the legs and make your way to down dog in any way that you like. So if you want to just step back, you can. If you want to go through a flow, you can, but keep the same rhythm of the breath. Good. On your next exhale, bend the knees. Look to the space between the hands. Step or jump the feet forwards as you inhale. Take a halfway lift. Exhale, fold. Bend the knees deeply. Lift up to chair pose. Exhale, sit down, down, down. Come to boat pose. One inhale in boat pose. Hands to prayer, come down to half boat. Take an inhale in half boat, and as you exhale, come back up to full boat. Cross the legs, hands to the floor, either step or jump back to down dog or flow through Vinyasa as you wish. From your downward facing dog, inhale, right leg up and back. Bend the right knee and stack the right hip over the left hip. And then step the right foot forwards between the hands and bring the back heel down, setting up for warrior two. So 2 heels in a line, and then you can make your way up to standing. Bring your arms out horizontal. Right knee is over the right ankle. And bring your gaze over your right middle finger. Lift up all 10 toes. Feel the activation of the front of the legs as you do this. Keep that. Spread the toes. Place them back down on the mat. Imagine you have a belt underneath each foot and you're lifting up the arches. Feel the inner seams of the legs lift, the outer seams of the legs lift. And at the same time as doing all of this, create the action of pulling the 2 feet towards each other. They don't actually move, but you're creating that action in the inner thighs, pulling the feet towards each other, like you're scissoring them towards each other. Last inhale. Exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Your choice, either down dog or vinyasa, or you can rest in child's pose if you need. So we meet in downward facing dog, preparing for second side, nice and slow like you're moving through honey. Inhale, left leg up and back. Bend the left knee and open up the front of the left hip. Last inhale here. As you exhale, left foot comes between the hands. Back foot is flat on the mat, 2 heels in a line. And come up to warrior two. Left knee is over left ankle. Fingers reaching away from each other. Lift up all 10 toes. Spread the toes. And then place the toes back down on the mat. Keep that activation of the fronts of the shins, tops of the feet. And then create that action of drawing the 2 feet towards each other. Yeah, feel how that switches everything on. Last inhale. And exhale, cartwheel the hands down. Make your way to down dog in whichever way works for you. Good. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, right foot forwards between the hands. Bring the back foot flat onto the mat. Inhale, back up to warrior two. And then straighten the front leg and bring both hands to your hips. Now, instead of staying in this plane, your left hand, left hip, let that come forwards a touch. So instead of trying to draw the left hip back, let the left hip come forwards. It's like you're turning to face down over the right leg. And then from here, bring your right hand either onto your right shin, or if you like to use, if you have a brick, then that's great. You can bring the brick to the outside of the right foot and rest your hand on the brick. But otherwise, right hand to right shin is fine. So right now, your left hip is dropping down towards the floor. Your left shoulder is dropping down towards the floor. Press that hand into the brick. So you've got good solid post there. And then gently start to lift your left hip up towards the sky, but only as far as it goes naturally. When it stops, it stops. Don't push it any further. Then bring your left hand to your heart. Rotate your heart towards the sky until it stops. Stay there and maybe reach your left hand up towards the sky.
Take a last inhale here. And as you exhale, bend your front knee, bring both hands to the floor, and step back to plank pose. Take an inhale in plank. Exhale to lie down on the mat. Come to Sphinx pose as you inhale. Tuck the toes under the feet and exhale, come to forearm plank. Inhale in forearm plank. Exhale, come back down to the mat for Sphinx. Take an inhale in Sphinx. Exhale, come back to downward facing dog. From your down dog, inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot forward between the hands, warrior 2 feet, and then lift up to warrior 2. Bring your hands to the hips, straighten your front leg, and then let your right hip rotate forwards and slightly down, almost as if you're drawing your heart towards your left foot. And bring your left hand either onto a brick on the outside of the left foot, or you can have left hand, left shin. But your right hip is dropping down. So it's almost like a forward fold for this variation, rather than staying in triangle. This is just a way of getting into the pose. You don't have to use this way, but it's a nice way to learn. If you're having any lower back problems or sacroiliac issues, this is the way to get in. So press down into your left hand. Right hand is on right hip, and then the right hip lifts up, but only as far as it wants to go naturally and no further. Then right hand to the heart, heart rotates up until it stops and no further. And then you can either bring the right hand to the hip or right arm up towards the sky for Trikonasana. You can lift and spread the toes here. Last inhale. Exhale, bend your front knee. Bring both hands to the floor. Step back to plank pose. Take an inhale in plank. And as you exhale, come down to lie flat. Sphinx pose as you inhale. Tuck the toes under the feet. And lift up to forearm plank. Exhale. Pause here as you inhale. Exhale back to Sphinx. One inhale in Sphinx. As you exhale, tuck the toes again. Come back up to forearm plank. One inhale in forearm plank. Exhale back to Sphinx. One inhale in Sphinx pose. And exhale your way back to downward facing dog. Inhale your right leg up to the sky. Exhale, right foot forwards between the hands, setting up in the same way, coming back up to warrior 2. So we're going to come into side angle pose and use the same technique this time for entering to this one. So hands on hips. And let the left hip, left shoulder rotate down towards the right foot a touch. From here, you can either rest your right forearm on your right thigh or bring your hand to the brick on the outside of the foot. Outside, not inside. And then from here, left hand, left hip, the hip rotates up until it stops and no further. Then heart rotates up until it stops and no further. Option to keep left hand on left hip or reach left arm over the left ear and press the outside of your right knee into your right arm. Feel that activation there. Lift up all 10 toes, spread them, place them back down on the mat. Ocean breathing, muscles of the face relaxed. Last inhale. And as you exhale, bring both hands down to the floor and step back, your choice of down dog or vinyasa. If you're going through vinyasa, keep this rhythm of the breath. Good. From your down dog, inhale, right leg up and back. Sorry, my mistake. Left leg. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot forwards between the hands. Setting up for warrior two, second side. Hands on hips. Right hip comes forwards and down. So heart is facing a little bit more towards the left foot right now. And then setting up either left forearm to left thigh or left hand onto the brick on the outside of the left foot. Then with the right hand on right hip, rotate the right hip up until it stops and no further. Rotate the heart up until it stops and no further. Choice to bring right hand to right hip or right arm over the right ear. Press the outer left knee into the left forearm. Lift up the toes and spread them. Feel how that lifts the arches. Keep that, but press the toes back down into the mat. As the arches lift, the inner ankles, the outer ankles lift. The inner seam and outer seam of the yoga pants lift. Inner groin, outer hips. Last inhale here. And exhale, both hands down to the floor. Make your way to down dog in whatever way works for you. From your downward facing dog, inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, right foot forwards between the hands. Setting up for warrior two again. Bring your hands to the hips, straighten your front leg. Come into triangle pose in the way that we just did. Once you're in triangle pose, lift up through all 10 toes. Feel the arches lifting, spread the toes. Keep the arches lifted as you place the toes back down on the mat. Now create the action of pulling the 2 feet towards each other. Feel how the inner thighs switch on as you do that. Take an inhale, and then as you exhale, come to side angle pose. Bend the front knee. Reaching left arm over left ear. Another inhale here in side angle. Exhale, hands to the floor. Step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot forwards between the hands, setting up for warrior two. Coming up to warrior two, straighten the front leg, come down to Trikonasana in the way that we've set up for today. Letting the right shoulder come forwards and down, setting up the hand first, and then lifting the hip and lifting the heart without forcing anything. Lift up all 10 toes, spread them nice and wide, keep the arches lift but press the toes back down. Feel the co-activation of the different sides of the legs. Then create the action of pulling the 2 feet towards each other, switching on the inner thighs. On your next exhale, bend the front knee, come to side angle pose. All the same work here in this pose. Still lifting up the arches, still creating that co-activation, still creating the action of pulling the 2 feet towards each other. Press the knee into the outer knee into the left arm. And then exhale, both hands to the floor. Your choice of down dog, vinyasa, or child's pose. Good. Meeting back in downward facing dog. In down dog, bring your feet together
Inhale forwards to plank pose. Look at your hands and step the right hand slightly further away from you, only like a hand's distance. And then roll onto the edge of the outer edge of the right foot, coming to side plank. And from here, bend your left knee, take hold of your big toe in your left first two fingers, reach the left leg up towards the sky. Lift your hips, press into your foundation, breathe. Take a last inhale here, and as you exhale, left foot forwards on the inside of the right hand for a lunge. Take a breath here. Last inhale, and exhale, come back to downward facing dog. Bring the feet together, come forwards almost to plank pose, and then walk the left hand slightly forwards, roll onto the outer edge of the left foot, right arm up towards the sky. And then perhaps taking hold of the big toe in the first two fingers, reaching right leg up. This is the same shape as triangle right now. Lift the hips. Last inhale. Exhale, right foot forwards, inside of the left hand, come to a lunge. Take a breath here. Good, last inhale. And this time as you exhale, step the back foot forwards to a forward fold. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale to fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale. Arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart center. Inhale, the arms come up, half sun salutation. Exhale, forward fold, hands down. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, back to forward fold. All the way up to standing as you inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, prayer to heart center. Stay here. Take an inhale at your heart center. Allow your eyes to close. Keep the same rhythm of breath. Bring the awareness to your feet. Imagine that strap is back in its place. Lifting up through the inner arches and the outer arches. Feel that energy suctioning up on the inside of the knees, the outer knees, the inner thighs and the outer thighs, the groins and the outer hips. Perhaps the muscles of the pelvic floor lifting up. The heart, rib cage, chest, all lifting. Back of the head lifting. Brow, jaw, root of the tongue, all relaxed. Good. And then allow the eyes to open. Exhale, release the arms. Inhale, the arms come up overhead. Exhale, forward fold, hands to the floor. Halfway lift as you inhale. Exhale, plant the palms and step or jump back, lower down. Inhale, forwards and up. Exhale, hips up and back, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, step the right foot forwards. This time we're going to set up for warrior one feet. So this means keep the right foot where it is. Bring the back foot flat, but the back toes are heavily turned in. And then come up to hands on hips. In fact, we'll take warrior 1.5. So rather than facing the front side of your mat or facing the long side of the mat, just sort of your hips are facing the top corner of your mat. And let's just take a moment to set up here. So if it feels natural to you to have the two heels in a line, that's fine. But if that feels too much, then there's nothing wrong with stepping that right foot out to the right edge of the mat. It makes it a lot easier, much more stable. So you might want to try that.
hands on hips, and keep the back heel grounded. And it's okay for this variation today. That's okay. We're not trying to force the hips to face the front foot. You can allow yourself to be on the diagonal. Allow your rib cage and your hips to be facing the same direction. So if that means you can rotate slightly more forwards, that's fine. But if it gets to a certain point where your torso is facing the front, but your hips are still facing out to the side, then you've gone too far. Keep the chest in line with the hips. Now straighten your front leg, and with your fingers on your hip points, lift the front rim of your pelvis. Good, keep that, and then create the action of pulling the 2 feet towards each other. Keep that, and then you can bend the front knee again. Good, you can inhale the arms up. Take a last inhale, and then as you exhale, straighten the front leg, bring both hands down to the floor, either side of the front foot. If you can't reach the floor, you're welcome to bring props beneath your hands, and breathe here. Last inhale. Exhale, bend the front knee, hands to the floor, and step back to downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg up and back. Exhale, left foot between the hands for warrior one. Back toes are turned in. Back foot is turned in as much as you can without the back heel lifting up. And then come up to warrior 1.5. So hips on the diagonal. Good. And then from here, straighten the front leg. Fingers to hip points. Lift the front rim of the pelvis. Keep that. Press down into the floor with the feet and create the action of dragging the 2 feet towards each other. Keep that. And then bend the front knee. Good. Breathe here. Arms up to the sky. Good, and then straighten front leg, and as you exhale, folding over your left leg, both hands to the floor. Keep that action of dragging the back foot forwards towards the front one. Good, last inhale here. Exhale, bend the front leg, hands to the floor, step back to your choice to make your way back to downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg up and back. Exhale, right foot forwards between the hands. And then walk your hands round to the long side of the mat. Bring the feet parallel with each other. Inhale to a halfway lift. Exhale, fold forwards. Good. Now again, imagine that you're standing on the belt. And imagine that you were doing that technique where you're lifting the belt up on the inside of the feet. And feel how that feels. And it probably doesn't feel so great as you start to load all your weight into the outer edges of the feet. So now do the opposite. Imagine that you're pulling up on the strap on the outside of the feet instead. Feel how that feels. Feel that suctioning quality up the outsides of the legs, outer knees, outer hips, crown of the head dropping down towards the floor. Then inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, hands to hips. Inhale, come up to standing. And then step to the front of your mat, come back to Tadasana, hands in prayer once again, eyes closed. Once again, bring your awareness to the feet. Imagine the strap is there and you're lifting up the inner and outer edges. Feel that quality work its way up the ankles, shins, knees, thighs, pelvic floor, rib cage, all the way to the crown of the head, lifting up. And know that if we were to do a handstand practice, it'd be exactly the same instructions, but traveling its way up the hands and arms and wrists and elbows instead. Exhale as you open your eyes, release the arms alongside the body. Inhale, arms up overhead. Exhale, come down to a squat, bending the knees, elbows inside. Take an inhale here. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift. Exhale, both hands down. Gently step back to downward facing dog. And then walk your hands back towards your feet. So you're now standing at the back of your mat. Bring your feet together. And then come down to a squat. So feet together but knees wide. And elbows, forearms come between the knees. So we did this one last time. Just a little bit of rocking backwards and forwards. So you don't have to get into... we're not getting into crow pose yet. We're just experiencing the bit of transition of weight. And what I want you to focus on here is keep squeezing the feet together. So feet squeezing together, rock some weight, lift the sit bones, rock some weight onto the hands, but the feet stay on the floor. And then come back to the feet. Try it again. Keep squeezing the feet together. So forearms, upper arms are between the knees here. And you're just leaning forwards, knees on upper arms. Keep squeezing feet together and come back. And this time, if you'd like to come up into crow pose, you can, but keeping this squeezing of the feet together. So hands on the floor, shoulder distance apart, knees maybe in the armpits or as high up the arms as you can get them. Come forwards, keep squeezing your feet together. Maybe lift the feet up off the floor, squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then come back down. And if you feel like you'd like to have one more go of that, you can try one more time. There's two variations, elbows bent or arms straight, both are perfectly valid. And then once you've done that, either take a vinyasa or come to downward facing dog. Good, come through to a seated pose. And then with the feet out in front of you, bottoms of the feet on the mat, come to lie back on your mat. So arms alongside the body, palms down, and we'll lift up to a bridge pose. So pressing into the soles of the feet, lifting the hips up, coming to bridge. Bring the shoulders beneath you. And again, bring your awareness to your feet. So we looked at the three corners of the feet on Monday. The heel, the base of the big toe, and the base of the little toe. And just notice right now, is your weight evenly distributed across the three corners of the feet? Or are there some micro changes you can make here so that you can get an equanimous distribution of weight? Exhale, come back down to neutral spine pose. Knees stay bent, but lying flat, eyes closed, no need for any movement. Notice and observe how you feel. So second round, same thing again. Lifting back up into bridge pose. And become aware of all of the points of contact with the floor. And see whether you can distribute your weight to get an equanimous sensation of weight distribution through the entire foundation of the pose. So your arms, your hands, your feet, the shoulders, the back of the head. Last inhale. And exhale to come back down. So we'll do 2 more rounds here. If it feels strong enough for you, then just repeat what we've done. Those of you that would like to go to full wheel, you're very welcome to do this. Those of you that work with Viparita Dandasana, you're welcome to take that also. So lifting up either bridge or one of those other options. Awareness in the feet. And coming back down. Take a neutral spine pose between each round. Just observe the effects of the practice. And for the final round, you might want to try a one-legged variation of whichever back bend you're in. So it can be one-legged variation of bridge, can be very nice. So as you do this, you come up into your expression of the back bend. And let's lift the right leg up first. So press down into your left heel. And then lift right leg up towards the sky. Bring your awareness to your standing foot. Can you redistribute the weight across the standing foot? Bringing right foot down, pressing through the right heel, lifting left leg up. And making whatever micro changes you need to make to the right foot. Left foot down, lift the hips a little higher. And exhale, gently come down. Take a moment here. And then apologies for not giving you a heads up on this one, but with disturbing yourself as little as possible, see if you can get hold of your strap again. And this time, so I taught you an interesting way to use the strap last week, but we're going to do a different way again this time. So rather than working on the hamstring, we've been doing tons of hamstring work, and generally in Vinyasa, we do tons of hamstring work. So, but we had a little look at the calves earlier, so let's look at that again. So bring the strap, instead of over the arch of the foot, bring it over the ball of the foot now. So the pad of the foot, so the base of the big toe to the base of the little toe. So yeah, you're as close up to the toes as you can be without actually being on the toes. And actually now you are over the transverse arch. That's one of the 3 arches of the foot. And to begin with, draw the toes back towards your face. So lift the toes and feel how that lengthens the underside of the foot, and that lengthens the back of the leg, the back of the calf. So now those muscles are in a lengthened position. And keep the toes flexing back towards you, but now press up into the strap with the ball of the foot. So push into the strap. So there's no actual movement, but now you're working quite hard. It's like you're trying to point the foot, but the strap is not letting you go.
and feel how that activates the back of the calf. So right now you are lengthening and strengthening the right calf muscle. If you want, you can flatten your left leg on the floor. So keep that resistance of the strap, not letting the foot push up. Good, and then bend the right knee. Bring the left foot in, take the right foot out, and setting up for second side. So again, the strap is around the pad at the base of the toes, but not around the actual toes. And to start with, peel the toes back towards your face. Keep that, but start to press into the strap. And the hands are working here to stop the foot from lifting up. So the lifting of the toes like that lengthens the calf muscle. And then by pressing into the strap with the pad of the foot, we're now also activating the calf muscle. So it's working in a lengthened position. And if you want to flatten your right leg on the floor, you can. Last inhale. Exhale, release that. Gently put your strap to one side. And now take any reclining twist that you like. If you're not sure what to do, then you can straighten your left leg, bend the right knee, and draw the right knee across the body as the right knee goes over to the left, whilst your right arm goes out to the right. Good, and then switching sides, whichever twist you're doing, go the other way. If you are not sure what to do, straighten your right leg on the mat, bring your left knee to your chest, and then draw the left knee across the body and reach the left arm out to the left. And then coming back to center and spreading out for Shavasana. Just have 4 or 5 minutes here. Heels as wide as the hips, allow the toes to fall outwards. Backs of the hands on the floor, palms up towards the sky. Just allow yourself to settle and lie still. Feel a wave of relaxation flowing up through the soles of the feet. It travels up into the ankles and the shins. And they all become heavy. Lying onto the earth. And the wave of relaxation comes up through the feet, through the lower legs, through the knees, into the thighs and the pelvis. As you exhale, the legs and the pelvis are becoming heavy and sinking into the floor. And that wave of relaxation flows up into the abdomen and the chest, the rib cage, shoulders.
And as you exhale, the whole torso begins to sink and merge into the floor. And the wave of relaxation flows up from the feet, through the body, into the shoulders, arms, elbows, forearms, wrists, hands and fingers. And as you exhale, the arms and hands become heavy and begin to melt and dissolve. And that wave of relaxation flows up from the feet through the entire body to the head. And as you exhale, the head begins to become heavy and dissipate and evaporate and melt. Start to deepen your breath. Bring some life to your fingertips and to your toes. Take a stretch up overhead so you're stretching from fingertips to toe tips. And then rolling over onto your right hand side, using your right arm as a pillow for your head. And helping yourself up to a comfortable upright pose, either kneeling or cross-legged. And take a moment here with eyes closed. Notice and observe how you feel. And hands to prayer at heart center. And we'll close with the unifying Om. So inhale together here. Lifting prayer up to your third eye. Folding forwards, bringing palms of the hands, forehead to the floor, and taking a moment to give thanks to Shakti Ma,
feminine principle that sustains us and gives us life.
And sitting up once again, prayer to third eye and back down to the chest as we bring the mind to the heart and aspire to lift the heart to the mind. In your own time, you can release the hands back down to the knees or thighs. And allow the eyes to gently flutter open. Okay, so thank you all very much for joining me today. We'll be back on Saturday and we'll continue our journey of working our way up through the body, moving up towards, we'll go up into towards the knees next time. So thanks a lot and have a lovely week and hope to see you all soon. Take care.